of you attempted the assignment to read chapter 12 and chapter 13? Hello?
Yes, Prof.
I'm asking a simple question. That how many of you attempted to read through chapter 12 and 13?
I did.
Okay. Patrick did. Is he the only one? Natu, did you read chapter 12 and 13 of DB1? Am I legible? Am I legible?
I did, sir. I have noise where I did.
Oh. Okay, how many people did not? You are not responding. I don't teach classes where people stay quiet, or I'll go in back. You don't want this class, then I'll just go. Then next week, teacher will take notes too.
No, Prof. Don't go.
I'm asking questions, nobody's answering. How many of you did not do it? Those who did it, I cannot hear any indication.
We read it.
What did you understand by, so what is performance tuning? What is performance tuning? At least based on what you've read, what did you understand by performance tuning? I'm listening. What did you understand by performance tuning?
It's a tool to help us manage how the database is running, to see where are the potential issues, and at the same time we can have advice how to fix those issues. Okay. Using
what kind of okay, let me put this. What is database maintenance? What is the difference between performance tuning and database maintenance, or database support, or not support, or maintenance? What's the difference between database maintenance and database performance tuning? We're not talking. If you read chapters 12 and 13, and I'm asking you questions, what is maintenance? What is performance? Come on, people, I gave you 1 week to do this, and you're just looking at me. You don't start answering this class until the class is going to end as quietly as it started, because I'm going to walk away. I give you an assignment, I'm giving you, actually just tell me what is maintenance, what is database performance, can you compare the two? What do you know about each of, or, I mean, what is it? I mean, nobody's been talking.
When you maintain your database, you you look at a series of advices. Let me rephrase it. When you maintain your database, you're looking at a series of statistic that you look at the series of indicators that I need to think a little bit. I rephrase.
Okay, so what is performance tuning? What is database maintenance? What is performance tuning? What is database maintenance?
Performance tuning. Let me start with performance tuning. It's a practice that help improve the efficiency of your database.
Okay. That makes your database more efficient. More efficient, what does that mean? More efficient.
That means for a user who try to access or request information, he can access it faster.
Okay. So you tune to enable your database to respond maybe faster in the queries. So what's the difference between maintenance and performance tuning? Database repair and database performance tuning.
They kind of related, because when you maintain, you want your database to respond quickly. So you fix issues to achieve that goal of efficiency, or to run faster. So you fix issues so that you can access it, have a quick response.
All right. What is optimizer statistics? What are optimizer statistics? What are optimizer statistics?
It's a tool that gives us, the DBA, the best execution plan when issuing a SQL statement.
Optimizer statistics, or are you describing optimizer?
Optimizer statistic.
It's a tool. Or the optimizer is a utility that determines the execution plan.
Yeah, I think it's a utility, not a tool.
that
chooses the best execution plan for each SQL statement issued.
Okay. So the optimizer will choose the best execution plan based on what? It chooses the plan based on what? Statistics that it has been collected. All right. How often do we collect optimizer statistics?
Every 24.
Every
24 hours.
collect optimizer statistics every 24 hours, so once every 24 hours by default. Can that default be changed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In what circumstances may we change the default?
Based on the service level agreement.
Yeah, you might change it, but when may you decide not to collect statistics every 24 hours? When may you decide to collect statistics? You said it is to every 24 hours. And I'm saying that is that the rule, or is that something that can be changed? And when may that be changed? What are stale statistics? What do you mean by statistics are stale?
It says statistic that the number of rows is above 10%.
Not really, that one you are giving is a specific example, but when it still means that the statistic does no longer represent
But
the number that it has grown and is no longer representative of that table. Where do you store optimizer statistics?
data dictionary.
AWR.
No.
No, we store the optimizer statistic and the data dictionary.
Okay. And we use the optimizer statistics to do what? To help improve what?
The performance of the database.
Okay. What are database statistics? Database statistics. What are database statistics? Why did you pull not read this thing now? Did you go read it? All right, I cannot continue like this because I gave you chapter to read and just the basics to see so I can start the class. I'm trying to see where you are. All right? How long will it take you to read those two chapters? I thought the morning class, because you were responsive. How long will it take you to read those two chapters?
You said how long it took us to read that chapters?
It will take you because apparently I think you're the only one who's been responding once or twice, but because people cannot read, the class I was taking, the class was based on the assumption that you have read the chapters 12 and 13. That's the assumption that I make for teaching this class today. Again, I'm asking, how long will it take you to read that chapter right now? You gotta read it. I mean, I know there's no way I cannot help myself. How long will it take you to go through? I'm asking you, what is the database statistics? You have no clue. Nobody's saying nothing. I'm going 2 steps backwards. So just tell me, how long will it take you to read? And I'll come back. I will come back.
45 minutes.
And
45 minutes.
all right, I'll be back in 45 minutes. It's not good. I'll be back at 6, what is it? 7:30 to ask these questions. All
Thank
right?
you, sir. Yes, sir.
We cannot really teach you. You need to know those things, and it's what they are. The chapter.
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit.
Yes, sir.
Just let's go.
All right, so what are database statistics?
I think database statistics is the memory statistic collection to facility that is using by the Oracle server database 11G component to collect the statistics.
That the database statistics is the 11G database server to collect the statistics. I'm not understanding.
I said database statistic is the memory statistic collection by the Oracle database 11G component to collect statistics. That's a thing for that.
All right, who else wants to try? What are database statistics?
Collection of data that provide a more detailed information about the database and the object in the database.
More detailed information about the database statistics. Mm-hmm.
Database statistics provide information for performance monitoring.
Database provides statistics from memory.
Provides information for performance monitoring.
Okay, provide information for performance monitoring. How often are database statistics collected?
Say it again.
Every hour.
How often are database statistics collected?
Every hour.
Every hour.
Where are database statistics stored?
So for AWR.
And what is it used for? Database statistics are used for
automatic database diagnostic monitor.
They are used for automatic database diagnostics monitor. How can they be used for a tool? Are they used by a tool? Do we even understand what statistics are? Because I'm talking here, but based on what I'm trying to figure out where you are. So read it again. Let me see, where are you, so I can know where to start. What is a statistic?
It's a collection of data.
It is used for maintaining the database, routine maintenance of the database.
Used for routine maintenance of the database. Or used for what? What do you do with statistics normally? When you collect statistics, what do you do with them?
Compare.
To what?
To compare.
With what? To compare what with what?
Compare with a present statistic or statistic collected in the past.
Okay. To compare what you have currently with what was in the past. So what do you do with statistics? When you collect statistics, your essence is to do what with those statistics to help you compare.
Compare, contrast, and then make decisions to better the future.
No, all of that is called what? You analyze.
Analyze.
Statistics are meant to be analyzed and used for comparisons, performance comparison between when the application ran well and when the application did not run too well. Okay, what is the AWR? What is the AWR?
It provides service to Oracle Database 11G component to collect, maintain, and utilize statistics for problem detection and self-tuning purpose.
What does you know about AWR? Is AWR in memory or is AWR on files on disk?
What's the question, sir? I didn't get you.
Is AWR in memory or is AWR on disk?
I think it's in the memory.
It's in memory.
It's
Not go ahead.
on this.
Oh, all right. You say AWR is on disk.
Yes.
And whose Galaxy Note? Put your names. Somebody said it's in memory. So which one are we going with? Memory or disk?
Disk.
Memory.
I think it's in memory, sir. I think it's in memory.
Change that name.
Ibish.
Some say memory, some say disk. Which one should we go with?
Disk.
Somebody clarify it.
So I think it is in both memory and database.
That's correct. It's both. Memory and on files and disk. In memory, because they are in-memory statistics, like what? The hit ratio. Where do you read? You read from memory. Where do you write? You write to memory. So that read-write in memory, that's where the statistics are. They are collected in memory. Why do we keep storing AWR in memory? Why do we store the statistics in memory?
Okay, cluster.
Huh? Mute yourself if you are not talking to the class. Why do we have AWR statistics in memory? Why do we have AWR statistics in memory? Why do we have AWS statistics on disk in files?
Can I say memory because it's recent and you can easily get to it and use it when you need it.
No, statistics, no. Why do we store AWS statistics in memory? Well, I agree, it's stored in two places, both memory and on disk. Why is it stored in memory?
For report.
No. Why do we store AWS statistics in memory? You see what happens when you don't read something? It is just, I cannot teach when I don't even know where you are. If I'm teaching and adding stuff, or I'm trying to find out where you are, but apparently I give you an assignment, you don't do it. If you read it, you would have known that it stays it's needed in memory. Even if I ask you and you don't know it now, you can open your notes, it's sitting there for easy access. The statistics are easily accessed on memory. And then why are they stored in disk? It's still in disk, why? Why are AWS statistics stored on disk? So that they can survive crashes. The instance crashes, you have the statistics on disk, it stays there permanent. Where are AWS statistics stored on disk? Where are they stored on disk?
And the background?
6 aux, table space 6 aux.
What does background mean? On the background? Go ahead, Patrick.
In 6 aux table space.
In the 6 aux table space, we have the AWS contains what? An in-memory section and also persistent section on disk, which is housed in the 6 aux table space. So it's stored in the background. What does that really mean? Okay. Who understands what the system development life cycle is? What is the SDLC, System Development Life Cycle? What is the System Development Life Cycle?
The development life cycle is made up of your database, the developer, the universal tester, DV, UVT, yeah, universal tester, there's something before, and the production.
The UAT.
Okay, it's made up of
Developers, test, UAT, and production.
UAT or sometimes QAT and production. All right, if you don't want to answer questions, let me not set up myself for failure. What occurs in the development environment? What activities occur in the development environment?
Verification.
What?
Verification.
Verification of what?
Of all information.
No.
The customization.
What occurs in the development environment?
Testing.
Testing in the development environment?
No.
So we have production.
No.
You have production.
Customization.
Customization takes place in the development environment. What do we understand by customization? In customization, what does that mean?
If there's any changes you want to make on the product, you do it there.
Making the product to fit a particular customer's need.
Yes.
Okay.
When you make the customization, what do you do after that?
Do the testing.
Take it to test.
Move it out to the test environment. What happens in the testing environment? What kind of testing takes place in the test environment?
Two kind, unit and universal testing.
No, in the test environment, what happens?
You analyze the changes that you made.
No. What activities occurs in the test environment?
What activities?
What activities occurs in this environment? Can you read what is there? You are reading?
Tester analyzed.
What happens in this environment, in the test environment?
They are testing.
It analyzes the secret statements.
No.
Is it like you are testing the customized, because after customization, you have to do the testing to see if everything works.
So I'm asking you, what do you do in the test environment? You tell me that after the test environment, how can that be the answer to bring up classroom? What is the difference between unit testing and universal testing?
In unit testing, you try the individual facets of the product to see if it works. At universal testing, you bring them together and see if they can work together.
Yes, so why do I write unit testing here and I ask you what activity takes place there? After you said customization here and I said that was right. And I write unit testing, what happens in the test environment? I cannot get it.
Then we try the individual facets of the product and make decisions on how to better them.
You test to see if the unit that you have worked on, the specific unit, is working.
Specification of a unit.
After that, you must move it out to the UAT, the QAT, where you do universal testing. Whatever you have changed, whatever you have customized has not broken something else. And after the UAT, we move it to where? To the production environment. What kind of users are in the development environment? What kind of users do you have in the development environment?
Developers?
The developers.
Okay. What kind of users do you have in the test environment?
Developer.
Analysts, testers.
Testers, analysts.
The testers.
Tester, developer, analyst.
You have the developers, the testers, and the analysts. And what kind of users do you have in the UAT or QAT?
Analyst and tester.
And what kind of users do you have in production?
Analyst.
Users and analysts.
Consumers.
Analyst.
End users, consumers, analysts.
End users and consumers. Who are end users?
Consumers. Analysts.
You have analysts who have read-only. Can I write something like that? Can I just read what is on the board?
Trying to put it in our own words.
Read only, put it in your own words. How can you put read only in your own words?
Okay.
All right. In performance tuning, you have different users having different requests. In performance tuning, you have different users having different requests. What does that mean? The developer may have the kind of request that the developer wants or needs. The unit test will have the kind of, so sometimes based on the kind of query or kind of ticket, based on the kind of ticket, you are going to get the kind of, the equivalent kind of request that is made. Developers only have certain exposure. A developer cannot create a ticket for you in production because the developer does not have access to production, does not do anything. But can they create a test for you in dev or test? Absolutely yes. When you go to work, how do you receive your job to perform? How do you know what you're supposed to do? Or how is your day guided? The work you do is based on what?
Job description.
Not that's not what I'm talking about. Your daily activities, like when you go to work, how do you know that it's time to do A or do B or do C? What drives your work? What drives your day?
When you receive a ticket.
The what?
Is it when you receive a ticket?
Yes, tickets. Job tickets. If somebody is facing an issue somewhere, they will not contact you directly by email or by phone. They will contact the help desk, and the help desk will open a ticket for them. That ticket has a description of maybe the application that they are trying to access. It may have a brief description of what is going on, why they are calling you. So let's take a look at an environment where you have a ticket, and that ticket comes from a user. And the user says, my system is running slow. What are some of the things that come into your mind? Let's say we have somebody in the human resources department, and that person in the human resource department calls you and say, I'm trying to transfer somebody. I do this thing every day. It normally takes me 1 minute to 2 when I finish everything. It's been sitting here for 15 minutes before it's finished. If I'm doing one in 15 minutes, I can't finish my work today. Please help me. That is a genuine ticket, right? So someone calls you and says, I think my system is running very slow. And your question is slower than what? Something can run for 5 minutes and is very slow. Why? Because it normally takes 2 seconds. Something can run for 15 minutes and it's very fast because it usually takes 4 hours. So the first thing is slower than what? What is your expectation? How long does it normally run? All right. How long does it usually take to run? And once you find out how long it usually takes to run, then you can have something to compare it with. It is running slow, but I want it to go so. This is the expectation, but it is now running slow. So if you work in an environment, and assume that your environment is I assume that your environment and I assume that the environment has 2 servers, server A and server B. And I said, somebody is trying to run something in HR prod, right? And that person opens up a ticket and says, HR prod is running slow. What's your approach? What are you going to do next? That ticket says, I'm HR working in my thing, and my system is running slow. What are going to be the kind of questions that you're going to ask? What are going to be some of the questions that you're going to want to ask this person who says, I'm doing something on HR and it's slow? What do? You connect your database at once? What are you going to do? Based on, this is our environment. What are you going to do?
We don't have to do with checking the memory. The size of the memory is enough to respond to the request.
I'm not sure what people are doing, but I hear too much noise on the background. I can't hear what you're answering.
Does it have to do with the memory size?
No. Someone in HR prod is experiencing some slowness in the system, and they open a ticket with you, and they call you, and they say, hey, I'm trying to do something that I usually do for 2 minutes. It now does finish in 20 minutes. That is unacceptable. We have a bunch of it to do. So my question is, what are you going to ask the person?
So
I'll ask the person
can
to
we
check.
ask like if there is any app or download running?
We'll ask if his network is good, the server, the database, the instance.
Yes, oh.
We'll ask the user at what time the person was trying to access the
It's
server.
over the phone. It's over the phone. You don't see.
Oh, I'm not seeing.
So I was saying if we could ask if there are application like if there is any download going on which might stop the server.
Okay, so go ahead. Somebody was saying.
Yes, I was trying to say, I'll ask the user at what time he started having the issue, so I can detect what I can detect when to see where the problem is coming from.
Not quite, not yet. So when, oh, you said when did they have the issue? Yeah, they told me to open up the ticket. I was trying to do something this morning. Yeah, but what do you do?
I'll find out what kind of request they send.
They said they were trying to transfer somebody. So that is, it was a transaction that normally runs for 1 minute. All right, once you fill the different parameters, you simply hit save or you say okay, and it runs for 1 minute. What it's telling you now is that it's been running for, it ran this one for 20 minutes. What's your line of questioning?
I'll check if the database on the same server as facing the same problem.
You asked it what?
I'll check the database. One of the database on the same server is facing the same problem.
Why? I'm sitting on HR prod on server A. I have an issue. What's your line of question is going to be? After another database on the same server has a problem, why? What have you determined that somebody is having a problem in HR prod? What does that have to do with the other server?
To me, I might ask if there are any application downloading which might be slowing the server.
No.
I'll try to check if it's a server issue.
No, you don't know. How will you know?
Prof, can I just do an AWR report?
No. On which one? On HR prod?
No. Yeah.
No.
You probably want to check if another user is facing the same problem.
Say again. I want to check if
another user is facing the same problem.
Absolutely. Talk to your neighbor. Is your neighbor facing the same problem? Then, if your neighbor says no, immediately I know that there's something pertaining to that particular user. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If your neighbor says yes, it has nothing to do with you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
You must talk to the neighbor. If the neighbor says yes, I'm having problems too, I know, okay, it may not be you alone. It may be the entire database. If your neighbor says, no, I'm not facing any problem, automatically it's your problem. My thinking now changes because of questions that I ask. Okay, what if your neighbor says, yes, I'm having the same problem? What's your next line of thinking? What if your neighbor says, yes, I'm having the same problem too? What's your next line of thinking?
But checking the network.
No.
I will run the AWR report to
On
diagnose
which
the issue.
one? Your neighbor has said, I'm facing a problem too on HR Pro. And then you go and start running an AWR report. Is that what you're saying? Think. Everything that I'm giving you, the answer is in there, is on the board, looking at you.
You know that database, so you check on the instance.
You don't even know what is the database issue. You don't know. You just heard that two people in the same database are having an issue. And what do you do next? You are still trying to find out if it's a database issue. What do you do next?
We check the file is consuming more resources.
No.
Prof, I have a question.
A question?
Yes, I'm just want to, before I answer, I just want to know if HR and finance on the same server.
But didn't you see it? Where have I not drawn this thing like this?
Yes.
Did I not draw this called server A? And inside server A, I put this database and this database. On server B, I put this database and this database.
Sir, I think in this case, if, for example, server A, if your neighbor said facing the same issue, I think now what you might do to me, you might check on the on server B to see if the same issue might be occurring there. So
No, not yet. No, not yet.
I think now you should check on finance department to see if they have the same problem as HR.
Yes, you must first go from step to step. You have found out that it is not an individual's problem. Now it may be a database problem, but you know that there's another database on that same server called FN Pro. So you're going to call the finance department and say, hey, John, are you guys okay over there? Are you facing any slowness in your system? If the finance person says, no, we have been fine since morning, what's your conclusion?
Several problems.
Oh, Jesus.
Database pro,
The database
the HR database pro is having an issue, not the general server.
It is not a server issue, it is a database issue. Because Finance Pro says, no, we are very fine, we're not having anything. I remove the server immediately. But what if Finance says, yes, we are facing a problem? What do you do next?
I think that's where now you know the general server issue.
At the same time.
If finance say yes, they are also facing the same issue, then you will know it's a server issue.
No. HR Pro has having an issue, finance says yes, we're having an issue, and you conclude that it's a server issue. No. What else are you going to do?
Okay, we make another call on server B to ask them.
You're not making a call to server B, you're making a call to CRM Pro, Customer Relationship Management.
Yeah, make a call to them and ask them if they have the same problem.
Very good. If they say, yes, we have been having the same problem, I think systems have been very slow, what do you do next?
You have to check the servers.
No.
You ask the SAM Pro if they are also facing the same issue.
They say yes. What do you do next?
If they're facing the same problem, we should check the network.
Absolutely, yes. When multiple servers begin to have an issue, it means that that HR Pro person just reported it. But it is a network issue that is affecting HR Pro. It's affecting both server A and server B and maybe server C. It is a network issue. And you don't try to start troubleshooting any network issue and to try to do what? Yes, you may try a TNS ping and see what's the response time, but you want to call the network team. Say, hey, gentlemen, ladies, are you noticing anything in the network? Because some folks are complaining. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what have we been doing? We have been trying to do what? To eliminate. It started from one user. From that user, you say, oh yes, it was inactive. But in 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, guess what? You have eliminated, and said it's a network problem. But what I'm saying is that if you look at what we've been having here, or if they call server B, right, on CRM, And CRM said, no, our system has been running smooth. What do you conclude? It's a problem with server A. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so that's how you should look at performance tuning. Performance tuning is not something that one size fits all, or this is a problem, this is the fix. Some bit of diagnosis may have to happen. Performance tuning can occur with network problems, network slowness. Man, some people have been copying some huge files across the network, and that thing is killing us. That will cause performance issues. Like we said, we could eliminate it such that it is a server issue. Then the performance fix will be what? It will be server related, because both HR prod and FN prod have an issue. Server B, CRM prod, CRM, SCM, supply chain management, they don't have any issue. So the problem is solely localized on that server. And you can take that server now up, you can type your work, start there, you start doing your top command, etc., etc. All right?
Yes, sir.
Here you're doing what? The TNS thing. And many other things that you can do here. Now you start doing your top command, your telnets, your what's that thing called? Memory utilization and process utilizations. All right? That problem, if we came in here, we call finance, FN Pro, and FN Pro said, no, we are fine. We know that it is one now, it could be HR Pro. Or it could be affecting HR Pro and FN Pro, then it's a server issue. Or then it's a database issue. Now you can locate the database. And even when you get to the database, what kind of issue is it? Is it, does it have anything to do with data files? Does it have anything to do with the instance? What is instance? What is the instance? Good Lord. What is an instance? Am I talking to this class? Am I muted?
Set of memory structure that manage a database file.
What is an instance?
Processes and structures.
What is an instance?
Processes plus data files.
An instance refers to database processes and structures.
An instance is the memory and processor of a database.
Wow. So it took us all of this. So we don't even know what instance is. What is going on? Yeah. Do you need to refresh? I gave you a week to refresh this thing. Just review these things now.
If you're not busy right now, can you grab the battery?
So memory structures and process structures. That is the instance. It has been like that now you are telling me process structures plus database files. It could be memory issues. Who can give me an idea of when will you tune an instance? Give me an idea of how you will tune an instance or an example, let's say that, of tuning an instance. When is an instance going to be tunable? Or what do you mean by tuning an instance? to tune an instance, what happens?
So which instance will eliminate any potential performance brokenness bottleneck.
So give me an example. You tune an instance when you do what? For example.
For example, when the heating ratio is let's say below 90%.
90%.
And what happened? What do you do to tune the instance? That's the question.
Yeah, adjust the memory.
What do you adjust?
You increase the size of the, when there's a lot of cache miss, you increase the size of the buffer cache.
Very simple. Because of cache misses, you increase the size of the buffer cache. What kind of tuning is that? What kind of tuning would that fall under?
Memory tuning.
I've written a few types of tuning that are underlined. I do not see memory tuning in there.
Instance tuning.
Instance tuning, because instance is, memory is what? Is the instance.
Instance.
Why is this thing more difficult than I'm thinking it? Because guys, let's talk how I want to do this class now. Because it's not going well at all. How do you want to do this? I'm not sure. If I ask you to read something so we can, I want to refresh your mind. That's why I'm asking you questions. But if you've not read it, it means you're still thinking about what is it. How long did you do the video? 2 months, 3 months, or 2.5 months?
Yeah, about 2 months.
Yeah, but I asked you to read, just read this thing last week. I gave you one full week. Some people even had 2 weeks, or almost 2 weeks. And then you refuse to read it. I'm asking questions. I'm trying to see where you are. This class is not going to work like that. Because if I'm asking you really basic DB1 stuff and we're not sitting well with it, it's not going to work fine. So I'm not sure how you want us to proceed. They are very interactive in the morning. We talk and talk and talk and talk. But now, I mean, you are not. I'm asking what an instance. It takes a while for us to just tell me what an instance is. All right, what is an application? When you talk about tuning an application, what are you tuning? What is an application? And if you notice, there's an asterisk on application tuning. There is an asterisk on application tuning. So what is application tuning? What are we thinking about when we say do tuning at the application level? I'm listening. Tuning at the application level, what are we tuning?
SQL.
I didn't get that.
SQL statement.
All right. So we're tuning SQL statements. What do we mean by tuning an SQL statement? One is you have to first of all identify what the problem is with the SQL statement. You have run the SQL statement. The SQL statement has accessed the tables that is supposed to access, but the data is not coming back in a timely manner. Note that when you started, or last year it was working, or 2 years ago, 3 years ago it's working. But as data grows, guess what? It stops working. Well, not it stops working, but it's working really slow, unacceptable response time. Then it is your job to come and see, when this thing was running with 10,000 rows, it ran like fine. But now it has 200,000 rows has been added onto that. Guess what? We're experiencing some slowness. Guess what? You need to come and figure out what methods of tuning we are going to use. You want to tune the SQL access? Do you want to rewrite the SQL query? Optimizer is going to try to parse that statement, run the statement, or develop an execution plan for that statement based on statistics that it has gathered. But I want you to understand also that application tuning has an asterisk on it, and that is because it could be about 80% of all tuning that you will do will be at the application level. Can we tune the instance? Yes. Can we tune the database? Yes. Server? Yes. Network? Yes. But it is at the application level. Let me see if I can log in and show you a few things.
Question, sir.
Yes.
What is a server tuning?
What is what?
A server tuning.
All right. Let me show you what it is. Remember, when HR prod and FN prod were running slow, correct?
Yes, sir.
And not when you call CRM prod, what happened? It ran very well, correct?
Correct.
What does that mean? This is likely a what? Server A issue. Because other servers in the network are running just fine. So the problem surely is from the server. So what's server issue? What's operating system issue, tuning? So look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in and I connect to my server. I'm not connecting to any database because first of all, I need to find out what's going on, and I'll bring in what we start the session. Cool. All right. So I can issue the top command, and that's what the top command is doing. What is it doing here? It's seeing Oracle is running different processes. You see that? Oracle, 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 Oracle. What am I very interested in? I start looking at these numbers here. What's the percentage of CPU that is being used on this server? That may be what's the amount of memory that we have on this server. Are we following?
Yes.
So all the Oracle processes in here. So how do you know whether it is HR or it is finance that has an issue? Well, all of them are owned by Oracle. All their processes are owned by Oracle. So how do you even know what database to go to at this point? Do you understand what our problem is? We have identified it as a server issue because both folks in HR and finance are complaining. You cannot just conclude at that point that it's a database issue. We said, let's go at the server level first. We come to the server level, we say, is there anything obvious that we can see from the top command? You want to see how much swap space is being used. What is swapping? What is the swap space? What does that mean? Are we good?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, so you look at it, you're seeing all of this Oracle. How do you know which database has an issue? Because everything they are showing here is Oracle. So what you do is you are going to look at this now, but again, as you see, here there's nothing on this server right now because I'm seeing everything is way below 1%. But if I see something near to something percent, that is the issue. So if we come in now and we had something running for something 80, 40, sorry, 23, 25, 30%, which is causing that server to be slow, and it's an Oracle problem, right?
Right.
Because the user here says Oracle that owns it. I must come and copy this process ID. Are we good? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I must copy that process ID and I'll find out what database that process ID is pointing to. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I will do no, first of all, let me find out what databases are running here, right?
Yes.
What instances are running. You can get for Pmon, and you see clearly that they have two databases here, right?
Yes.
Which one has the issue? Remember I said, we're assuming that 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 is running with 25% of their memory or CPU.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. I'll do a PLCM minus BF grep for 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. You see that?
Yes.
No, that's the enterprise manager agent, so it's not for any of this. Let's do for the 2, 1. The one below 8 is what? Is 20687. So if that's the thing, 206. If that's the one that was doing an issue, we'll see it right here. And that will know that this is the guy who's the possible trouble database. We'll grab the PID. And once we grab the PID, it will tell us the exact database that's having the issue. Are we following?
Yes, sir.
So, because for example, when you see here 6 instances are running, which AWR report are you going to look for? Which alert log file are you going to look at? But if you grab for the PID, for the top consumer on this, from the top command, guess what? You're going to have the database to start focusing on. But that's how you have downloaded yourself down to a database. Production could be having an issue, HR problem, but that issue is on the server. It's not coming from any of the databases. If the server is running slow, something is occupying a lot of the server, guess what? It will be running slow. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Now, do you now see what the server tuning is?
Yes, sir.
Yes, so again, this is what we were doing in DB in the performance tuning. Like I said, something I was concerned here was what? Swap space. What is swap space? Why would the computer need swap space? When the computer is using physical memory or using physical disk as it is using memory. So when your swap space starts growing, what does that mean? You're running out of memory, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is what we will do in performance tuning. You look at it, the server has been up for these days, 5 users, load average, all right, running slippage, zombie processes.
What are zombie processes?
Zombie processes are what we call runaway processes. They consume resources but not actually, how do I put it, not giving a result to anybody. Sometimes they may be how do I call it? They may be the work of hackers who can come and have a zombie process without no parents. Because usually there is somebody who has that process responsible for it. However, the zombie process is running, consuming resources, yet it's not owned by anybody, any user. So you want to capture them and kill them. Are we good?
Yes,
So,
sir.
so Puffy means that you should have 0 zombie, or you can have 1 zombie or 2.
What do you think?
So because you say 0 zombie means like the process something, I didn't really get it.
What did I say 0 zombie means?
It's like process. I didn't really get it. I
No,
forgot.
I'm asking the rest of the class. I said runaway processes.
Yeah.
Processes that are not doing anything any good for anybody. So that's why I'm asking you, what do you think, how many should you have?
0.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It matters. If you have
For me, it has to be 0 because they will be taking space for nothing.
Yes, using processing power from nothing. It should be 0. How many viruses should your machine have?
Mine is say 1 zombie.
Say what?
1 zombie, you have a runaway process.
Okay.
So all of those are used for performance tuning. How are we accessing our CPUs? All right.
Okay.
There's some, how to get the, I'll give you some of those commands. But that time or the other people will come in and will have a bunch of what to test on the server side. Are we good? What to test on the server side. All right. And the operating system, you have to have many different things that you can configure. When you talk application tuning, again, I said a big part of your tuning is application tuning. Big part of your tuning is application tuning. How are SQLs accessed? Because there is nothing you do in that database without using SQL. Everything you do in database, you must use SQL. So how SQLs are executed is of paramount importance. So whenever you have what we call a tuning opportunity, you must first look at it as, is it a network issue, a server issue, a database issue, an instance issue, and an application issue. This is what we call the top to bottom approach. All right? From the network, to the server, to the database inside the server, to the instance part of the database, and to the application, which is the SQL that is being run against the database. That is called the top to bottom approach on performance tuning. Depending on what the developer says or the user who opens the ticket says, a certain user, they come and tell you that I am, especially a developer, I'm running the SQL and it is running really slow. Can you please take a look and see if you can tune it for me? What kind of tuning is that going to fall under? A developer is running a SQL statement and it is not giving the result that he wants in a timely manner. and the developer asks you to help with that SQL statement. My question is, what type of tuning will that fall under?
Application.
Yes, because we're tuning the SQL. How is SQL accessing the data? What is an index? You can try. What is an index? What will an index do? What is an index? What do we use an index for?
Index are used to speed up the SQL statements in the database.
Okay, by doing what? Used to speed up the queries. How do we do that? By I agree with you. Indexes are used to speed up queries. How do they do that?
Personalize a specific
By I didn't get that. Indexes. You see, I gave you all of these words, thinking that we'll just, when you revise them, we'll just be using them as we move forward. What is an index and what are we use them for? Except for making the SQL statement run faster. And say, why? What do they contain that's going to make that statement run faster? Ooh.
Prof, can I try?
Yes.
I think they contain an entry for each value that appears in the column.
Yes, they will eventually contain entries, but what are they specifically talking about? They point you to the specific rows that contain the data that you're looking for. If a table has 35 columns and you run a query that needs data only from 5 of those columns, why are you not just querying those 5 columns? Why are you doing a full table scan to see if the data is there? Do you understand what the problem is? Does that make sense?
Yes, Prof.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
They point you to the columns where the data is. You create an index, say this query, use this index. Once you use that index, it doesn't worry now about querying the entire table because it's just a column that matters, that contains the data. All right? Who know any types of indexes? So how many types of indexes do you know? I asked you to devise this thing.
B3.
The B3 index.
The big map.
Big maps. And the difference in them is that
Yeah,
unique index.
Now what? I mean, the unique index has done what? I'm struggling with this class because we did not prepare. That's what I'm saying. I guess we do not have time to prepare because I gave you a lot of time. All right. So our different indexes will point us to exactly where the data is. Eventually, they can actually contain the specific data that you're looking for. And once you query, you don't even query from the table, you want to query from the index. All right. What is a partition?
What's what, sir?
What partition?
It's a decomposition of large tables and indexes into smaller and more manageable pieces.
It's a what?
A decomposition of very large tables and indexes into smaller and manageable ones.
All right. The table can grow too large. And we can partition them, break them down based on different criteria, on range, on hash, you know, and store our data such that from this time to that time, that's the range. From this time to that time, that's another range. From this time to that time, and partition them out that way. You can do east, west, north, south, and partition it that way too. All right? Because the goal in every application is to get the data in a timely manner. Is to get the actual data, but get it fast in a timely manner. All right, when you go to application tuning, which I said is about 80% of the tuning, you start being interested in okay, you start being interested in things like your AWR, your ASH, you start looking for different matrices. All right, system activity, user IO. So we have something there, you can look at that metric and you see different times, see what was happening within different times. All right. So what can I do in this? I can look at top activity, top consumers, duplicate SQL, or I can take this time and run my ASH. I said, look, I see ticks. Something was not right during this period. So this person normally must have called and said the system was slow at that time. So I can go now and look at that time and I'll see exactly what SQLs were running at 8:02. All right, that is, okay, that is what was happening. A certain SQL, a select was running and spiking up our IO. You can go to the SQL ID and you can click on that SQL ID. Oh, why is the ID not available? Give me a snapshot. Okay. Why is it not giving me the SQL ID? I want a SQL statement that will show us. Okay. Okay, so this is the statement, the delete statement. All right, so the actual SQL text, you can look at the explain plan of that statement. That's the explain plan of the statement. Let me get a better statement on the top activity. Wow. Switch. So bottom line is you want to isolate. Your first thing here is to isolate the trouble SQL. Here, hopefully all the things are there. I want to see the trouble SQLs. Exactly, that's the SQL trouble SQL right there. Select, it says use an index. All right, it will call passing a hint. So it says use an index. So we can come in here, we'll see that index, select this, that. You can also come in and look for the explain plan of that SQL statement. All right, it will explain you right. Okay, and it can actually tune it for you. All right, so that's what DB2 is about, looking at SQLs. When you hear application tuning, know that you're tuning SQLs. SQL tuning advisor, SQL access advisor. So the homework I'm going to give you is to use all of those words that I gave you and try to match them up with, all of those words that I gave you, match them up. Where do they belong in our top to bottom approach or tuning approach? Which one belongs to the network? Which one belongs to the server? Which one belongs to the database? Which ones are more instance inclined? Which ones are more SQL? I have a bunch of more additional words that I want to send to you, but the fun is that if you don't read this thing, I don't know what's going on. I cannot just function like this. This part of this class is good. This second part is ball. And the worst you can do is not really read it. So if you come, you have read, you've done something, we'll just have conversations. I am trying to ease you into performance tuning because it has been a very big crack when people come in and they just jump into it. And after 1 week, everybody's head is spinning. So it is mandatory that you go and read chapters 11 and 12 and get just familiar with those words. So when I come in, you're talking, you're asking me questions, you're talking. I mean, I'm here to clarify everything before you start performance tuning. So I once you are clear on what it is, now you're simply just putting words together. But if you come in and you don't read it, I'm just desperate. I don't know what to do. All right, what was the question? Now, go ahead.
So I wanted to ask, like, if like I have a problem, like my DB1 database was crashed, so I had to drop it, and that was a database that was managed by that was connected to enterprise management.
Mm-hmm.
So now, what can should I create another database and enable enterprise management in order to?
Which database you have? You can just configure enterprise manager for that one. You have ORCL, which is your main database.
Yeah, I have TL, CMO, and ORCL that I still have.
Yeah, just create it. Just create it. Since you've already dropped that one, it's gone.
Yeah, so I have
just
create a new
enterprise manager. Yes. No, not a new database. Just put enterprise manager on any of these ones that you have.
Oh.
I need us to have it.
Oh, so you can enable enterprise manager on an existing database?
Say that again.
So you can enable enterprise manager on an existing database already?
That's how you enable it. We had it before. We created our databases. They existed for about 3 weeks without the enterprise manager because we don't have a listener. You came and configured a listener, then started enterprise manager, you configure it.
Yes, okay.
So everybody should have enterprise manager by next class on any of your databases, because we need to start going through some of these, those functionalities, that performance page. We need to go there and let it mean something to us. The issue here is we're not starting very well because you're not read. This morning, people read, so I was bombarded with questions. So I hope you promise to do better the next class. If you don't,
for sure, we promise.
Yes, two chapters, just read it. Discuss about it. Go through each and every one of those words. I should be here to explain the words. You know what I mean, right?
Yes,
after you have gone through, you have any confusion, I can further explain, to clarify it. But if you leave it that I should come and just teach it like I'm teaching DB1, no, that's not. You are senior students. Yes, somebody was saying. Did anybody say anything?
So, Prof, how many days are we going to take class?
How many
days per week?
2, Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we always reserve the right for the third one if it's not working.
Sir, please excuse me regarding connecting our existing database to enterprise manager. I don't know. I for one, like I must say, I don't know how am I gonna go about it because I cannot remember how to do it. So I don't know if you can enlighten me.
How is that my problem? When I taught something, you cannot remember it. You are asking me? I do not understand how that kind of school
I was just
works.
saying if you can just like enlighten us on like the process to do it.
No, you have not even gone, you have not even reviewed it.
I'm just saying in class, if anyone already has an idea, so that's what I'm saying.
Yes, if they don't have an idea, there's a chapter that will show you how to review it.
Excuse me, Prof.
Go to chapter 5.
I cannot connect to my DBCA.
VNC.
I didn't get you.
As I cannot connect to my DBCA.
So what
to have VNC.
Oh, VNC.
Do you really think this is what I really want to do?
I'm just saying.
Good, I'm just saying too. You forget the things that I've been taught to you. You think that I'll come and teach it again?
No. I do have a problem with my student number, so I can't do everything like enterprise manager. I'm just saying when I'm trying to put my student number, it rejects my student number. So that's the problem.
There's no problem. The person says go through VNC.
Yes, I went to VNC, but it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
my student number, my I want something address numbers, those numbers.
Want something address, so if you cannot say student, this cannot connect.
I put student too, it doesn't work, he rejected.
You put student?
Yeah, you know, when you try to connect by VNC, I put those number, it didn't go through, so I changed by student 366, and before he was working, but since 2 days before the exam, he stopped. So since then, he stopped working.
So you did not write the exam?
I did, but I didn't use the VNC. I didn't use
Yes, you didn't use the VNC.
I didn't use the VNC. I just went to Zoom and take those questions.
I am getting confused. You wrote the exam through Zoom?
Yes, when Emerald was saying sending the exam from my email address, I didn't use VNC. I just used the Zoom. That's it. I'm
more confused because I don't know how people use Zoom instead of VNC. They are not compatible, or they're not.
I was using.
She had a problem when she wanted to go to DBC and create a database. So when she logged into VNC, she was unable. So she cannot create any database through DBCA because she cannot log in through her VNC. So the issue she has is her student logging in with her student number or the numbers that are always frequent on the logging in ID. So I don't know if she has an issue with her server, but she cannot go there to go to DBCA so she can create a database.
And my question is, so can you log into that same server using PuDDY?
Yes, PuDDY, yes.
So the server is not a problem, the VNC is yes, potentially a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Please explain it like that so that I can understand it. Not that I use it through Zoom. I'm confused.
No, I forgot. I use my PuDDY. I use my PuDDY. I don't have a good voice. I'm sorry. I use my PuDDY.
All right. Please, if you want the class to be, if you study, we are going to work the class together. But if you do not study, it's going to be just like this one. I did not enjoy this class.
No, sir, we'll study. Maybe because we're just a little bit relaxed due to the break we had. But since we started now, I think we're gonna pick up.
We reach chapter 12 and 13. We are going to be very fine. I will clarify these things because else you will meet a topsy-turvy sub-assaulting thing all of next week. But if you are studying, it becomes very easy. So easy learning. Mm-hmm. You know that you're not doing performance tuning. You don't consume it all as the same. Are we talking server tuning here? Are we talking network tuning? Are we talking database? Are we talking instance tuning, or are we talking application tuning? Everything will be bought, all of that. And I want you to tie those words that I gave you. What aspect of tuning do you think this is part of? All right?
All right.
Sir.
Okay, if I were you, I will request the morning class tape. I'm sure, yes, they were recording it. If I were you, I'll request it because of the too many questions that they asked. I taught a whole lot that I cannot teach, that I've not taught now because you didn't ask the questions. I know they went back and forth. I tried to remember the things I tried to say. If you can take a look at that, it's going to help, especially before next class. All right?
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Yo, Joe.
Yeah. Anita.
Joe.
Anita, copy. Anita.
Yes. But now the game people are going to talk profit.
Anita.
You know the Anita number.
Yeah, Anita. Please, if you can, since you are used to with the other class cut with the morning class, so I don't know if you can help. You can like access the tape for the morning and put that on Zoom? If it's okay by you?
I think it's better